Hi, I'm George Crump, lead analyst with Storage Switzerland. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about MSPs and how that they can get the highest price for their business, and also how to just bring value or add value into their business. So joining me on the light board to talk about that is Aaron Farragon. He is the Executive Vice President at Asigra. Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about this. I think this is a really interesting subject because at the end of the day, you either want to at least build value in your business, and at some point, like we were talking earlier, you might want to retire, and getting value out of the business makes a lot of sense, right?
Indeed, and there are surveys that say 70 or 70+% of IT channel resellers and MSPs at some point are going to sell their business 3 years, 5 years, 7 years at some point down the line. So it's something to think about, how to get the most money for it.
Well, let's dive into the subject.
Okay, cool. So if that's the objective, is to sell your business, your MSP business, and to sell it for as many dollars as you possibly can. Let's talk a little bit about how the MSP business model evolved, right? A long time ago, they were just resellers, and this is kind of in the 80s and through the 90s, maybe to the early 2000s. So let's say 1985 to 2002. And this was sell once, collect once. And then after that, we moved to lots of people making lots of money in the space, and there were many, many resellers, and then so there was a lot of competition, and vendors started to compete with partners, and partners started to compete with partners, and the margins went down.
Right.
And during this late stage of this, margins went down below 15%, and when margins go down below 15%, partners basically die. They go out of business. So then there was this kind of like revenue chasm, and this was hard to come across because on this side, people were said, okay, we need to make monthly recurring revenue, and there were many people that ended up here, lots of casualties that died.
Yeah.
And during this period of time, what happened was there were cloud vendors, cloud service vendors came in. This is around, I don't know, 2004, 2005, something like that. And they said, don't stand up your own cloud service. We've done it already. Just resell our service.
Right.
So people did that. So this is happening, 10, 12 years ago or so, longer. And fast forward to today, people are, most and many MSPs are still reselling, they're brokering somebody else's cloud service.
So in essence, they really haven't changed. What they sell might be different, but they still have sort of the same business model.
Yeah, like a sales agent,
yeah.
if you will, right? And so this has been really an alluring kind of pitch, and it made sense during this era. But today, if tomorrow you're going to sell your business, today you want to think about, how do I get the most money for it? How do I build value into my business? So today, this is kind of low value MRR. And on the day you sell your business, tomorrow, if that's tomorrow, you want high value MRR. And here's some of the challenges with low value MRR when you basically broker. There's kind of three things. One, you don't get to set your margins and price for your service because you're reselling someone else's.
Right.
It's not your service.
Right.
That's the first problem with it. The second problem with it is your customer list is no longer proprietary and a secret. In the good old days, when everybody made high margins, you would never go to your vendor or your distie and say, oh, here's my list of 250, 300 customers. That was a closely guarded secret. When you resell somebody else's service, they know all your customers.
Right.
So what happens here is some vendors basically right over the MSP's heads, they communicate to the end customers because they know who they are.
Yep.
And that dilutes the value and the relationship with the partner.
What this reminds me of is the registration days. Somewhere right as we were kind of heading down that chasm, remember you had to register to get the better deal, and then we're opening up the kimono, so to speak, right?
So there's registration also today.
Yeah.
And in some cases, with some vendors, and these vendors, by the way, call themselves channel only, what they sometimes, you hear it in the peer conferences and peer groups and things, is that some vendors actually take deals and they reassign them, and they tell the vendor, the broker that actually found the deal, they say, no, that other broker already knew about that one, and they assign them to their favorite deal. It's really nasty because they got to make their quarter ends and so on and so on. So your customer secret, communication, the relationship you have gets diluted. And a third problem with it, and this is the biggest problem if you're going to sell your business tomorrow, is it's not sticky. And this is what buyers, if tomorrow you're going to sell your company, the buyer is looking for customer contracts that are sticky. Because if they're not sticky, if somebody can take the customer contracts, if they can move them to another broker or sales agent or reseller, if they can move them to even to another vendor, the buyer of your business is going to have to spend money and energy and time making sure that those customer contracts don't leave. And that cost of doing that effort comes out of the purchase price of your business.
Right. Well, I would think it'd be real easy in this agency model for this guy to just sort of swoop right in because they've got all the information they need to pick up and start doing business with the customer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So exactly. So in the high value model, it's your service. So you get to decide the price. You decide the price and the margins. Your list is private. Nobody knows it. Your underlying technology stack vendors have no access into your customer list. And it's very sticky. So your purchase price is going to be much higher, much higher. And you know, this is how you raise the value and you build value into your business. I think a lot of this has to do with the fallacy that, oh, maybe in 2004, 2005, there's a lot of heavy work, heavy lifting and costs, and it was complicated and so on. Maybe that was true then. But I think today there's a lot more automation in technology and a lot more, you know, the prices of the cloud, you know, technology evolved in 10 years. We see this every month, every quarter. You write about it every week, you know. And it's fairly easy and straightforward. And you don't have to, you know, deliver all the services in your portfolio. I think is another fallacy that some people think, okay, I have to deliver everything. And I think there's some services that are fairly straightforward to do, like, you know, monitoring. I think another one that's easy to do is VoIP services. These are really easy. I think backup, that's a no-brainer, very simple to do, probably 60 days, and you're getting, you know, that's what we enable partners to do, so that's about 60-day project to do. I think authentication as a service, that's really easy to do. So these are some easy ones. The ones that you don't want to do are the ones like Office 365. You're not really going to compete with Microsoft tomorrow, right? Or, you know, or CRM. You're not going to go and build a CRM and so on.
So I guess the key thing that people see this doing your own is the risk involved, that it's just hard and you got to build like this world-class data center and do all this work. And what you're saying is, like with your guys' stuff, you can get this whole thing going in 60 days.
Exactly. You know, our stuff, other technology stacks, it's 2019, 2020. So you can just buy infrastructure as a service. You don't have to own it and feel it. You don't have to have your own data center. You can either do colos, or you might have your own data center, or you can do public hyperclouds. Again, the technology stack, you can buy it for several $100 a month to start and scale it as you build customers. And you also don't have to move all your customers over in one shot. Shouldn't do that either. You should bring new customers on your service, maybe take the problematic customers and bring them over. But the concept is to, you know, pick the easy ones to do, build value into your business, and the vendor community, the technology stacks have become much less. Here, in the old days, when you started, $200,000, $250,000 to get it going. So there were less people that did it. And it was harder to do, and it was worth a lot more then. Today, a couple $100 a month, 60 days, it's a project you can do within a quarter. You can do all this as a fully OpEx basis. In the old days, you did need a CapEx. You had to shell out money, and when you were just trying to cross that revenue chasm, finding a couple $100,000 for many partners was a near impossible thing to do.
So, Aaron, before we wrap up, why don't you talk a little bit about what Asigra is doing in this space?
Okay, so we're a software vendor focused here, enabling partners to stand up and deliver their own service on their own infrastructure or in a hypercloud or kind of wherever they want. Monthly licensing model, onboarding, training, just build value into their business so that when they want to sell their business, they're going to get the highest price.
Okay. So just give me a couple of key takeaways then for the guys watching as we get into this, as we wrap this video up.
Yeah. I think the big takeaway is to recognize and appreciate that there's low value MRR, there's high value MRR, and you want to have a healthy mix in your business of high value MRR so you can get the highest price. You're not going to do all of your services in high value. You're going to have some, like 365 CRM, in low, or it makes sense to do that. But just understand that and take the steps, work with vendors that have been doing it for a while, and build value into your own business, I think is the essence of it.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us today, Aaron.
Pleasure.
So there you have it. If you're looking to build higher value in your business, understanding the difference in the types of monthly recurring revenue that are available to you and getting the right mix are critical to that success. I'm George Crump, lead analyst with Storage Switzerland. Thank you for joining us.